welcome to the panel discussion. Our theme this year is Voices from the Field, International Library Transformation Across the Ocean. Here, we are honored to have two panelists, one from Xiaojie, Duan from Tulane University, our voices from a U.S. institution, a librarian, and Xiaoqian Zhang, our information scientist, researcher from Sichuan University, China. So I want to first introduce our panelists to introduce themselves. And
I'll start. Hi everyone. My name is Xiaojie Duan Xiaojie. I'm the catalog librarian of the Tulane University Libraries.
Okay. Hello everyone. First of all, thank you for the invitation. I'm Xiaoqian Zhang. You can call me Zoe. I'm an associate researcher at Sichuan University. My background is in library and information science. So I got my PhD at McGill University last year. So I guess that's all about me.
Thank you so much. Let's get started. So our first question, libraries around the world are adapting to rapid changes in technology, user expectations, and institutional priorities. So I just want to know from your perspective and your experience, how are libraries in the US and China changing right now? What are some major challenges you see in your local or national context?
Okay, I think I'll just start. I think this is a very great question. I'll just speak mainly from my experiences working in the US academic library settings, especially in the technical services department and also in cataloging. One of the most significant changes we're facing right now, in my opinion, is the increasing integration of AI tools into library workflows, because tools like Alma's generate with AI assists and also OCOC connection. I will explain this software a little bit later. So OCOC connection also has its AI tool called Enrich with AI assist. Those AI tools are beginning to reshape how we think about the cataloging right now, not just in terms of efficiency, but also in terms of professional roles of human beings and AI tools. So traditionally, cataloging has been a highly structured and rule-based practice, which rely heavily on specific standards and structures and rules like MARC, RDA, and BibFrame in the future, and various controlled vocabularies. So cataloging also requires a lot of domain knowledge in this specific area. You really need to gain certain skills and knowledge of cataloging and classification, especially when dealing with specialized formats such as music scores. And I will give examples later, or multilingual materials like Chinese language materials. So with the introduction of AI, I think, in my opinion, some parts of the cataloging process can be faster. So example, AI can generate those metadata, descriptive metadata contents such as summary fields or general subject headings. And this can be especially helpful for catalogers when we are dealing with large volumes of materials or backlogs. However, AI tools really bring several challenges. One of the major issues here in the US is that AI tools, like US AI tools, are based on English language. So when I was applying those AI tools, English AI tools into Chinese materials, I can see its limitations. These include issues with handling Chinese characteristics, inconsistencies in transliteration, and problems with mark linking fields. Alma cannot generate linking fields in Chinese in the software. Another challenge is related to more specialized cataloging formats, like I said, music score, because those specialized materials need special cataloging treatment. So I just found like the OCOC connection. This is the software that at least in the US, most of the catalogers are using to do cataloging and classification. So I just found like the AI function is called Enrich with AI system in that software struggled with music scores, particularly in correctly interpreting instrumentation and assigning appropriate core numbers to music scores. This highlights the gap between surface level information processing versus deeper domain knowledge understanding. So also from a broader perspective, these challenges are not just technical, not just within the technical bibliographical records. They are also about representation and access. If AI tools cannot perform well in bibliographical records, they can also raise problems in the discovery layers in our library, unlike catalogs. So I think overall, I would say right now we're at the intersection of challenges, opportunities, and caution. AI can support our work, but it also requires us to rethink about our professional expertise, our quality control, and equity in the US academic library settings. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Xiaojie. Your appearance is very professional. So I don't have any experience working in libraries, but I did lots of works related to it. So I guess I can share that from this perspective. So from my opinion, one important change in libraries today is we are working in a much more complex information environment, especially when we are thinking about areas like health information. So in my own research, I have gradually come to feel that challenges is not simply whether people can access information. Of course, access is still important, but that's one part of the story. What also matters is whether people can understand the information, trust it, use it in their daily lives, or sometimes even feel able to engage with it at all. This is especially clear in health-related contexts. In my research on older adults with diabetes, I found that health information behavior is not only about seeking information, it's also about what happens after people receive information. Some people use it to make decisions, adjust their daily routines, or confirm what they already know. But other people may feel uncertain, overwhelmed, or not fully confident about how to act on the information they find. So for me, this points to an important transformation in the role of libraries. Libraries are no longer only places that provide access to information. They are also becoming spaces that help people navigating complexity. That includes helping users interpret information, evaluate credibility, and make meaningful use of what they find. I think this is particularly important now because the information environment is becoming more complicated, not less. So people are faced with information overload, conflicting message, misinformation, and very different levels of digital literacy. And in some cases, people may even disengage from information, not because they do not care, but because the environment feels too difficult, too confusing, or not fully relevant to their needs. So that's what I want to share with you.
Yeah, thank you both for sharing your experiences, your perspectives, the challenges you face in your local institution and national setting. I especially appreciate you both covering like the whole cycle of our interaction with information. Xiaojie talked about how we process information, how we catalog them to be more accessible to our users. And Xiaoqian talked about when you have this information, how you engage with them, how you evaluate them, how you make them useful in your research and inform our decisions. So I really appreciate that. In Xiaojie's sharing, I heard a lot of AI. It sounds like AI is becoming part of our everyday workflows, and many librarians are rethinking how their work and how to incorporate AI to serve their communities. My next question is around AI. So I wanted to ask you both, do you use AI in your daily work, and how has AI shaped library services, for example, your engagement with your community or your teaching and research?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it. I think like for now in my daily work, I have to be honest, I am still using AI as an experimenting tool that I am still testing. I have not used the AI tools in my daily cataloging workflows yet, but I'm testing to trying to find the possibilities for me to apply those AI tools into my cataloging workflow in the future. So specifically, I just want to share like my experiences when I was testing those AI tools, like I mentioned before, like generate with AI assist being embedded into Alma, and also the enrich with AI assist function embedded into also the connection. So I just compared like those AI generated bibliographic records with those bibliographic records manually created by me, particularly for Chinese language materials. And for my AI testing project, I used the two types of materials. One is the Chinese monograph that I originally cataloged by me and was later enhanced by other institutions in social connection. And another one is the Chinese music score, which already has bunch of records in also the connection, and some of those records are pretty good. So I just want to test like how AI performance across different types, different formats of Chinese materials and the different levels of catalog complexity. So what I found is that AI can be quite efficient in certain areas. Like I mentioned before, it can do a very good job generating in descriptive metadata fields like summaries or general subject headings. So I can remember, so when I was testing that Chinese music score, it already has a Chinese version summary. I think the Chinese name of that music score is Jin Yinhua. It is like a type of flower, Jin Yinhua. And then it just the description just Chinese summary just described how this song describes this, how the concert describes this particular flower. So I just let AI generate the summary for me, and it actually did a very good job. It generated like a English version summary with beautiful words and a concrete description of that single music score. So I think like for those fields, AI can really help us like reduce repetitive work and to improve efficiency. However, there are certain limitations. So for Chinese monographs, like I mentioned, AI had difficulty handling Chinese characteristics and did not always correctly managing those mark linking fields. The structure of those AI-generated bibliographic records are often incomplete or inconsistent compared to manually created bibliographic records. The music score example or revealed even more interesting and more challenges because I found AI struggled with interpreting the form and the instrumentation of the work. Take that Chinese music score as an example. That music score is a music score for trio concert. I think it's piano, vocal, and violin. So trio concert. And then the concert information is included in subject headings. So it said it is a music score for trio concert. So I just let AI generate the call number for that music score. It gave me the call number for duo concert, gave me the call number for quartet concert, but failed to give me call number to trio concert. So this example really illustrates while AI can process context, it does not always fully understand the semantic and contextual meaning, especially in specialized formats like music scores. So in practice, I use AI as a starting point. Yes, AI can generate the brief bibliographic record and generate the call number for me, but even that brief record and that call number need careful review and correction. So in this sense, I think AI becomes a part of a hybrid workflow where human expertise still remains essential for ensuring accuracy, consistency, and adherence to our cataloging and classification standards. So I think the key for now is not whether we should use AI, but how we should them responsibly and effectively within our existing professional frameworks.
Okay, so for me in my daily work, I mainly use AI in research and teaching. So I see it as a support tool rather than a replacement for expertise. So we both have the same idea. In research, AI helps with things like brainstorming, summarizing readings, restructuring drafts, and improving language. That can be very useful when we are managing multiple responsibilities and at the same time, which is basically my daily life every day. I have lots of things to do. But anyway, I think that's the most important part of research, like developing the question, interpreting findings, and making the argument have to remain human-led. So that's our job. In teaching, I have found AI especially useful because it can support student learning. So this term, I'm teaching a course named data mining, and I actually encourage students to use AI to help them learn Python. For some students, programming can feel difficult or even intimidating at first. So AI can be a very helpful learning companion. It can explain code, help them understand errors, and generate examples that make the learning progress more approachable. But I also tell my students that they should not just accept AI outcomes passively. They still need to understand the logic, check whether the code works properly, and think critically about the answers they get. So, in that sense, AI is not only a teaching tool, but also something that changes how we teach. I think that is one of the biggest challenges right now. AI can help us a lot, but it also means we need to put even more emphasis on critical thinking, verification, and responsible use. So for me, AI is most valuable when it expands human capacity without replacing human judgment. So that's what I want to share.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. It sounds like AI has been very empowering in our daily work, but then we also need this human judgment to make AI an assistant instead of replacing us. We have a comment in the chat from Li Li Li. So he mentions for academic libraries, especially for those public college or university libraries in the US, a budget constraint is the most significant factor impacting the library collection of development. And the library collection development, the secondary impact is due to the decreasing numbers of international students. That's very true, which has directly reduced the current and the future cash flows for colleges and the universities in the US. Thank you, Lily, for sharing. I definitely see these two factors, two challenges facing US institutions. I can see it in my current institution. So thank you for adding that to our conversation. Yes. So I have my last question for our panelists today. So as we see all these changes, not just the change of AI technology, but also budget and changing political societal dynamics. So as I remember 1 year ago when I was graduating from my MLIS degree, I was thrown into this professional world. So I remembered how panicked I was. So I wondered if both of you could share if you have any advice for young professional early career librarians or our library school students. Is there any advice you could give them for them to better prepare for today's evolving library profession?
Yeah, I think this is a really important question, especially given how quickly AI is rapidly changing these days. I will give advice to those early career librarians who are willing to do cataloging and classification. My first piece of advice would be to build a very strong foundation in core librarianship and in cataloging principles and classification principles, because even though AI tools are becoming more and more common, they still rely on the underlying structures of metadata, classification, subject heading, and subject analysis. Without understanding those fundamentals, it is very difficult for librarians, especially for catalogers, to evaluate and to improve AI-generated outputs. So for example, for my AI testing project, because I am familiar with MARC, with RDA, with various controlled vocabularies, it is very easy for me to quickly identify where in those AI generated records are incomplete and incorrect. And I can go ahead and correct them and finish them. So this kind of expertise still remain valuable, even with this AI rapidly changing environment. My second piece of advice is to stay open and curious about new technologies. We all know AI is not perfect, but it is likely to become more and more integrated into library systems, because all the AI tools that I am testing are embedded into those softwares. Those big companies which develop the library softwares are starting to use AI tools. Our users, like students and professors, are starting to use AI tools. Our vendors are also starting to use AI tools. Everybody is starting to use AI tools. So for early career librarians who are willing to test those AI tools and who are willing to understand their strengths and their limitations, will be in a very strong position, in my opinion. I would also encourage those early career librarians not to see AI as a replacement of your work. It is not, but treat it as a tool that you can use to test and to practice your professional skills and knowledge. The role of the catalogers, in my opinion, will be shifted more toward evaluation, decision-making, interpretation, rather than purely manual creation. Finally, I think it is very important to stay engaged beyond your own institution and your region. Many of those challenges we're facing around, like the physical processing and access to multilingual materials and the AI bias, are shared globally. So learning from your peers, from your colleagues, from different institutions, different countries, different libraries, and different regions can provide valuable perspectives from different angles and help us develop more inclusive and effective cataloging practices together. So overall, three advices: build your foundations, strong foundations, stay curious about new technologies, and stay engaged within this broader professional community.
Okay, so my turn. My advice to early career librarians and library school students would be, first, to learn as much as possible from practice. I think librarianship is a profession that cannot be understood only through theory or coursework. Those are important, of course, but practice teaches you things that are much harder to learn from textbooks alone, such as how users actually ask questions, what kinds of challenges arise in real service settings, and how much professional work depends on communication, flexibility, and judgment. So I would really encourage students and early career professionals to look for opportunities to observe, participate, volunteer, intern, or take on small practical responsibilities whenever possible. Even short appearances can be very valuable because they help connect abstract ideas to real user needs and real institutional contexts. My second piece of advice is also about AI. So I do not think early career professionals should reject AI because it is clearly becoming part of the new information environment and part of daily work in many settings. If we ignore it completely, we may miss important opportunities to improve efficiency, creativity, and service innovation. But at the same time, I would say do not depend too heavily on AI. It can help generate ideas or support routine tasks, but it can also make mistakes, oversimplify issues, or create a false sense of confidence. So I think the goal is to develop a balanced relationship with AI, learn how to use it, understand what it can do well, but also be very clear about its limits. So use it as a tool, not as a replacement for your own thinking. Overall, I would say stay close to practice, stay open to new technologies, but keep your professional judgment at the center. In a changing field, what will make librarians valuable is not only their technical skills, but their ability to understand people, make thoughtful decisions, and provide responsible and human-centered support.
Thank you both for the valuable advice. As an early Korean librarian, I can verify those are really great advice for peer early career librarians and library school students. Thank you for letting us know. AI is empowering, but we also need our library fundamental skills, our core knowledge, and build our expertise and really practice our pretty critical thinking to evaluate AI-generated information. Do we have any questions from the chat? Feel free to unmute yourself and talk with our panelists or type your questions in the chat. Or if you have anything that you want to add to our topics. I see a comment from Lily Lee. For the second panel discussion topic, my colleague and I will cast our 2 cents to indicate how academic libraries could lead the AI literacy instruction across academic learning landscape in a 10-minute. I will go demonstrate my colleague. Once the presentation is over, I'll be back to them. Okay, looks like Professor Lee will share with us more in his research. Third question topic, I'd like to share some of personal life insurance in the US. The US is a high-tech society. One LIS degree is not good enough. We can exchange our personal experiences due to the impact of generative AI. The positions of librarians, at least for reference librarian positions, AI-powered robots will replace them and other colleague professors step by step. This is the future irresistible tech trend. Yeah, that is something that we need to think critically and be aware of. Like AI is a very powerful tool, and it will become even more powerful in the future. And how do we update our knowledge to stay current, to stay helpful to our users and our institution? The librarian from Edward, the librarian job market feels tight, especially for new graduates, early career. With limited job openings and strong candidate pools, that's very true. Maybe there are more jobs in your region versus the rest of the country. I see everyone notice growing librarian job opportunities from our 2 institutions that are trying to achieve R1 classification, but not as many opportunities in existing R1 institutions. And whenever Edward speaks to librarians at our 2 institutions, they're doing much more, which we are glad to hear. And Xiao, from a comment from Xiao, like it depends on library's needs. Okay, it looks like for our recent graduates and libraries school students here. Good news. They are hiring more recent graduates, giving them opportunity and time to grow. Okay. I love to see this dynamic chat in conversation in the chat. But any of you wanna unmute and talk? That's also I'm fine reading the comments. But any of you wanna unmute and share your insights, your experiences? We will love it. Okay, it looks like it's a competition between R1 and R2 universities. As R1 universities are having budget cuts. Cool. Thank you for our two fantastic panelists and this dynamic chat. We are at the end of our time for the panel session, so I'll pause here.